Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Police have carried out a series of early morning raids at 9 properties across Hobart. As part of the operation, officers have seized $80,000 worth of drugs, 3 firearms and a vehicle they say could be related to the alleged murder of Jared Turner.
A fortified green shed, the subject of intense police interest this morning. This one of 9 properties across Hobart raided in the early hours of this morning. More than 100 police officers, including forensic and sniffer dog teams, involved in Operation Gold.
This is a significant disruption to an organised group, and organised groups are responsible for harm in Tasmania, not just harm from a drug perspective, but also harm in terms of crime, in terms of public order.
Authorities say they seized $80,000 worth of drugs and 3 firearms, 2 stolen and 1 handmade. Police say one man received an injury to the buttocks during the operation.
Look, I'm not going to disclose police methodology. However, we utilised specialist resources this morning in relation to a property that was fortified, and as a result, a man was injured and he's currently receiving medical treatment for his injuries.
But as well as targeting drugs, police are interested in this car. They say it could be linked to their investigation into the death of Jared Lee Turner, who was allegedly shot dead by a rural road near Richmond in April.
What I can say is that it is not the principal vehicle that was involved. We've already seized that vehicle some time ago. This is a vehicle that we believe has some relevance to the murder investigation.
7 people have been taken into custody. Michael Breen, 7 Tasmania News.
A man has died after a fire ripped through a unit in Latrobe last night, in Tasmania's 3rd fatal blaze in less than a month. Police haven't confirmed the cause of the fire, but say it's not suspicious.
Sifting through the blackened remains of this destroyed unit on Gilbert Street, following a devastating discovery just the night before.
Fire units from Devonport and Latrobe attended, and upon attendance found that the unit was fully engulfed. The scene was examined at that time, and unfortunately 1 person was found deceased.
The blaze breaking out at around 9:40, with emergency personnel alerted by a neighbour in the adjoining unit.
The neighbour heard his dog bark, that he's been walking by the dog, and then he felt the extreme heat from the wall of his unit. He came outside and saw the fire, and then he's alerted emergency services.
With fire crews managing to stop the blaze from spreading.
The fire department worked extremely well and managed to contain the fire to that unit, and the unit next door was saved, as were adjoining houses as well.
Tasmania police say this is the 3rd fatal house fire that has occurred across the state in the past 3 weeks, with another family left devastated over the tragic incident.
Oh, very tragic. The family were very upset, and they'll be, I understand that they are on the mainland at the moment, and they'll be travelling into Tasmania today.
The sole occupant is yet to be identified. An investigation into the cause continues. Ruby Kamain, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's rebel speaker has gone rogue again, attacking her own party with an expletive criticism over its handling of the housing crisis. Sue HICKEY has also brought down a damning assessment of the embattled health minister, saying he should consider his position.
The self-confessed rogue speaker enters Parliament on a day centred around her scathing review of her own party.
You're too close to the problem, you're just hearing the same advice, so you have to sort of, pardon the French, put your bullshit filter up and say, is this actually factual?
Calling out the government for its handling of the housing crisis, saying it's moving too slowly and has no contingency plans for those facing homelessness.
I'm sort of sitting here thinking, my God, every day from here forward it just gets a little bit colder. So I have put a focus back onto the government to say, you know, this is an emergency and it must be addressed now.
Turning to health, she says the minister should consider his position, calling for an assistant minister to lighten the load.
I do think he is giving it his all, but, you know, this is one of the most massive portfolios we've got, and I think he needs the support of the whole party to do that job.
But the government is adamant it remains united.
We are a strong team. We back each other.
meeting with Ms Hickey today to hear her concerns.
There is a parallel to the housing issue where supply is not meeting demand, and we are absolutely determined to help Tasmanians get access to their health care.
I am the voice of the people who are concerned. So I believe I'm just doing my job, and I will not be shut up just because that's the political thing to do.
The Speaker is supposed to be the umpire, the one who makes sure the rules are being obeyed. If you're in there trying to affect the game by being an active player, of course, it's very difficult to be the umpire.
Labor launching parliamentary plays with motions against both the health and housing ministers, but debate was gagged. Tensions running high with just one day left in Parliament until a 6-week break. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
The government has offered public sector unions a chance to secure their members significant back pay as the year-long battle for a wages rise continues. But the deal must be signed by June 30 or public servants will be denied that pay. Today, the government wrote to unions asking them to accept the wages increase of 2.1% for the next 12 months. The slight increase used to plug the gap as long-term negotiations continue.
Acceptance of this one-year offer will ensure that our employees can enjoy the salary increase they deserve, whilst negotiation teams can continue to negotiate on other matters, including future years' salary increases.
The different parties have so far failed to reach an agreement despite more than 100 formal meetings. The company behind the proposed Mount Wellington cable car has taken a significant step forward, officially lodging its development application. The 804-page document has been handed to the Hobart City Council and includes 13 different expert reports on all aspects of the project. The company saying it's confident the proposal meets the criteria for an environmentally and economically sustainable cable car. But the controversial project has long divided the community, this latest bid already facing criticism from its opponents. A man who killed a Trevelyan father in a high-speed crash last year will soon learn his fate. Dylan Leo Victor Lee today pleaded guilty in the Launceston Supreme Court to manslaughter and causing grievous bodily harm. Adrian Tudor was killed driving home from work last September when Lee sped through a red light and collided with the 48-year-old. Lee is expected to be sentenced next week. Tonight marks a step forward for the HUON Valley's recovery from the summer bushfires, with a new visitor attraction launching in the region. The first art installation as part of Project X begins tonight, a haunting experience involving the sound of ravens in the forest as the sun sets.
Deep in Tasmania's south, Mona's Dark Lab is taking visitors on a journey through the forest. The sound of 2,000 ravens, part of an installation opening tonight near Hastings Caves.
This particular project is very much about bringing people out of the city, out of noise and into a space that's much quieter, where there's no light. It's designed to be experienced at the point of sunset and going into dusk.
The installation is by renowned sound recordist Chris Watson. If you've watched a David Attenborough documentary, you've probably heard his work, bringing the sound of animals to life.
He's most recognised as a sound recordist and sound artist and has collaborated and worked with David Attenborough for decades.
This art installation set up just 4 months on from the bushfire crisis that saw the region's main tourism drawcard, the Tahoon Airwalk, devastated by fire.
We knew during the fires how the businesses were suffering, and so we knew we needed a short-term, medium-term and long-term financial solution, and this was the short-term.
A bus service is running with a crucial stop for dinner in Geeveston on the way back.
We don't want people to just nip down there, listen to the artwork and nip back. Our ideal situation is that those visitors actually go and stay down the HUON in the far south and then also partake of the food and beverage.
The ticketed installation opens tonight, running over several days of dark mofo and will continue after the festival. Michael Breen, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanian men are being encouraged to join a local community shed as part of a national week of health awareness. The state's peak body says sheds are in high demand as loneliness continues to impact those in regional areas.
This group at Port Sorell Men's Shed is using all sorts of tools to work on projects as well as their minds. Tony Kitson joined 7 years ago after an injury left him out of work.
Bugger one of my shoulders, I just couldn't work. And then I couldn't do what I loved doing, and that's working with wood. And I got a little bit depressed. And so when the shed started up, I thought this is the place for me.
And he says more men are now flocking in than ever before.
Oh, yeah. There's been heaps joining, heaps. It's helped a hell of a lot of people. It really helped them.
The Tasmanian Men's Sheds Association is urging men to talk about their mental and physical issues.
Men just don't talk about things like that. We should do. So that's why we're encouraging now, during Men's Health Week, come into a shed, join a shed, come and unburden your health problems.
And with social isolation playing a major role in depression and suicide, sheds in regional areas of Tasmania have seen a rise in men accessing their services.
Mental health problems in the regional areas because of loneliness. There's a lot of men who've retired, they've come off farms. They just sit there, they don't know what to do. They'll watch a midday movie. We've got to get them off the chair, into a shed, have a chat.
If you or anyone you know needs help, please contact Lifeline. Ruby Kamain, 7 Tasmanian News.
You might have played it on school holidays, but for a small group of Tasmanians, laser tag is more than a game. They're aiming to see it recognised as a sport while heading overseas to prove they're the best in the world.
They're the athletes of the darkness. Don't be deceived, competitive laser tag is serious business. Brendan HEATLEY-HART has been playing since he was 10, competing against local and interstate rivals. He's now setting his sights on his biggest target yet.
So we're heading over to Sweden Internationals with a team consisting of players all around Australia.
He'll be joined by teammate HUON.
Oh, I love it. It's basically an alternative sport, just like paintball or motocross racing, things like that. And the way I think about it is it's all exercise.
This is how the world likes to watch. Tournaments streamed live online.
Wax 2 shots in. Wax gets green base and puts Wolfpack in second place.
The sport is far from mainstream and players still cop their fair share of judgment.
Yeah, so going through school, getting a lot of flack for it. Not a conventional sport, so we definitely get a lot of hate for it.
Outside the arena, laser taggers need to hit the gym. Each round lasts 12 minutes, with players sometimes signing up for 15 games a night. And don't think you can go into it all guns blazing.
You'll want to have intelligent players first. They'll tend to outsmart and outmaneuver opponents. Then comes in speed, endurance and reflexes.
Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
The best of Launceston's young creative minds is on show at the Queen Victoria Gallery and Art Museum. But there's a twist. Primary school students have not only made but also picked the winning works at this year's Art Start.
We're very excited about it. We kind of took a bit of a deep breath and hoped that things would work out, and it's exceeded our expectations.
Teacups to tiny houses make up the 82 pieces on display. The show runs until November.
The Hobart Hurricanes bowling stocks have received another boost, with the club signing Australian fast bowler Belinda Vaquera for the upcoming WBBL season. 21-year-old, who was part of the Australian squad for the 2017 World Cup, has taken 21 wickets in 39 matches for the Sydney Thunder and joins fellow Australian players and recent Canes recruits Nicola Carey and Taylor Vermenick in the squad. The side is set to play 2 matches in Burnie and Hobart and 1 in Launceston during October and November, with a WBBL fixture officially released today. And the TSLW action returns this weekend, with Clarence hoping to close the gap between top sides Launceston and Glenorchy on the ladder, with a win over the Tigers at the Twin Ovals this Sunday.
I think we're only just sort of getting to know what we're sort of able to achieve, I think, with this young team. I think we've got almost 8 new girls this season to our squad, so you're looking at, they've played 4 or 5 games of footy. So, they're not even sure what they're capable of at this stage.
Williams has been instrumental for the Roos this season, booting 14 goals from 4 matches after only making the switch to footy from soccer last year.
So it's been really nice to sort of work with girls who are really fresh to footy and sort of building their confidence and developing them as players.
In Sunday's other matches, North Launceston take on Lauderdale at Invermay Park, with Launceston and Glenorchy set to play out a top-of-the-table clash at KG5. To basketball, and it's crunch time for the Southern Huskies in the New Zealand NBL after dropping their past 2 matches in a row. The side now face a daunting trip on the road, with their season done if results don't go their way. Bouncing back from last Thursday's lacklustre loss to the Canterbury Rams, the Huskies fell just 2 points short against the side in their next encounter. But with the battle for playoff spots heating up, near enough isn't quite good enough at the moment.
In a game that we probably should have won, we gave up 25 free throws to 9, 19 turnovers, just the areas that can really cost you games.
The Huskies take on the Rams once more in New Zealand on Thursday before a clash with the Southland Sharks the following night, a side sitting just 1 win above them at 4th on the competition ladder.
Last road trip we went 2-0, so right now we're probably a better team on the road.
Hobart Huskies guard Tad Duffelmeyer will get his chance to impress on the biggest stage, replacing Craig Moller, who'll be playing with the NBL's representative side in China.
Provides others opportunities to step up and see where they're at, so not all's lost. It's a huge weekend. I mean, if we come back 0-2, the season's over. If we're good enough, we'll come back and we'll give it a shake. If we're not, then obviously things start to turn towards next year.
And Ariane Titmus has signed up for a new swimming league aiming to revolutionise the sport. The Tassie-born ace will join a Californian-based franchise for the new International Swimming League, which launches in October. Moments ago, Titmus won her heat in the 800 metres freestyle in a time of 8 minutes 13 seconds at the World Championship trials in Brisbane.
Good evening. A rain band crossed the state today, bringing some nice soaking weather. Best fall to 3 p.m. was 29 millimetres at Strawn. Scottsdale received 25 millimetres. Still more to come though. Hobart 12 degrees today, the northern centres all 14. The top was 17 at Flinders Island, St Helens, Friendly Beaches and Grove all 15 today. Low Head and King Island 14. Strawn 13 and 6 degrees at Ouse after scoring the overnight low of 0. So no map of Tassie tonight, completely covered by the cloud today. Has it moved right across with that cloud band. That cloud moving with the cold front is right across Victoria, New South Wales, South Australia and the Northern Territory as well. Behind the front lies a large area of cold, unstable air. Tomorrow a front crosses during the day with a trough close behind. A surface trough extends through most of inland Australia, a high also in the picture up the north. West to northwesterly winds increasing to 20 to 30 knots during the morning and getting up to 30 to 40 knots over southern waters with a 5 metre swell. A gale warning from Tasman Island to Sandy Cape, a strong wind warning for remaining coastal waters with the exception of the upper east coast, a small craft wind alert for the lakes. Also a minor flood warning for the North Esk River, a flood watch for other northern catchments. A top of 15 for Hobart tomorrow, a possible shower, 40% chance of rain, 13 for Cygnet, becoming windy, and a top of 14 for New Norfolk with a shower or 2. Launceston 14 with a shower, showers and windy weather for Devonport, 13 the top and 12 the high for Campbelltown. For Burnie tomorrow, a top of 13, a windy showery day, same for Strawn, 12 the top and 13 for Smithton. St Helens tomorrow, 14 and a possible shower, partly cloudy for Swansea, 15 degrees and just 13 for Fingal. On Friday, showers over the north, west and far south, fine for the remainder with fresh westerly winds. Mainly fine on Saturday apart from the shower for the west, far south and Bass Strait Islands. And on Sunday, showers over the north and west, easing in the evening. Showers for Perth and Adelaide tomorrow and later in the day for Melbourne. Light morning rain for Sydney, a top of 21 degrees. A mostly sunny 25 in Brisbane and a mostly perfect day in Darwin. Not so here. Plenty of cloud cover and a bit of rain over Hobart at the moment. And Joe, I know that you're working under duress. You're worried about your husband Andrew at home with man flu, which is a real thing because the male testosterone hampers the effect of the antibodies that can fight the common cold. So you get home and make him some soup. Oh, hold on. No, don't do that. I've tasted your soup.
Seriously, thank you very much, Murph. We will just be fine without your advice. That's all from the news team for now. Thanks so much for your company. We'll see you a little later with updates. Bye-bye.